There's a tendency in our culture that I really hate. Somehow, it seems that we don't think of a couple as consummated or valid until that couple has children. This idea is particularly prominent in fandoms where even gay characters somehow have children that share the DNA of both parents. And I'm not about to say anything about such fantasies. Go ahead and have them. But I think it's telling about our idea about love and where love should end up. I know it's deeply rooted in biology, but it's something that we've got to stop perpetuating. Because forcing characters to have children doesn't necessarily lift couples up, it may destroy them. Today we're talking about Feyre and Rhys and what A Court of Silver Flames did to them. And I am upset. Because I love Feyre and Rhysand. I really enjoyed their journey in book 1 and 2 of A Court of Thorns and Roses. In A Court of Thorns and Roses, Feyre tells Rhys that she doesn't want children for the next while. She wants to enjoy being with him, she wants to enjoy life a bit, and get to just be, which is understandable for someone who has lived on the brink of starvation for years, then became involved in this great, terrible thing under the mountain, and then became part of a war. It makes sense that she would want some time to just be herself. Paint, and figure out what it's like to be High Lady of the Night Court. And also another war is coming, and it makes sense that she would want that. Add to that the fact that the cycle of Fae is supposed to be 2 years long, so she doesn't get her period except for every 2 years. So she's fertile once every 2 years. When this book starts, it's been a year or a year and a half since A Court of Thorns and Roses ended, and Feyre is pregnant. About 2 months pregnant. So she must be really, really fertile. So she got pregnant her first cycle, even though Fae have a notoriously hard time getting children. I guess Rhysand doesn't just have big dick energy, he also has fast sperm energy too. Who knew? Guys, we need to stop making children the parameter by which we judge the successfulness of a romance or a couple. I know children is the natural biological endpoint of romance, but come on. Why do women romanticize the infantilization of themselves, this diminishing of their function? Because what of course happens in these books is that these awesome badass ladies become all about their children and they can't do shit in the plot while pregnant. Even though it would have been awesome if Feyre had gotten pregnant but was still I am the High Lady, and Rhysand, you don't get to cuddle me. I am awesome. I'm gonna go do my thing while pregnant. That would have been great. If you were gonna go that route, I would have enjoyed it, but she didn't. Fairy just spent the entire book just being pregnant and useless. And in this instance, Feyre, for some fucking weird, unexplained reason, doesn't get to do magic while she's pregnant because plot. She needs to not take part of the plot. She needs to be sidelined, and we need to get the baby. So fuck that. So the situation is as follows. Feyre and Rhys' child has wings, and this will apparently kill a normal woman who doesn't have a womb that is shaped to birth Illyrian children. The wings will destroy her when the child comes out, and because there won't be room enough in her for the child, it'll be birthed too early, and both mother and child will die. But Feyre can't be allowed to accommodate the birth and the child by transforming, which she is capable of doing, because the magic might stress the baby and kill it, and it's the baby has wings because she was in her Illyrian form while they had sex. So she already transformed once. Why wouldn't the baby be okay with it? And also, haven't Sorcerer Fays had children for millennia in this story? Why is Feyre special? And she even has insane healing powers from one of the High Lords, so this shouldn't be a concern. And second, so instead of actually just risking the baby but having a chance of both it and the mother surviving, you're just gonna go down the route of death is certain and she's definitely gonna die and we have no idea how to save her. Nice logic there. And then when we learn that Feyre will die in childbirth, Rhys keeps this information from her. This is some Tamlin shit, yo. The whole thing in the story was that Tamlin was keeping things from Feyre. This was a big problem in the series, that Tamlin and Feyre had communication problems. He didn't involve her in the big decisions, which ultimately led to Spring Court's demise. Even in the third book, when Tamlin thinks he has Feyre back, he doesn't share his plans with her. If he had told her that he planned to turn traitor on the King of Hybern, she probably wouldn't have destroyed the Spring Court. Communication is key here, and telling people the actual consequences of actions is key so that they can make their choices. So Rhysand keeping this secret from Feyre is something that Tamlin would have done, and he should have been punished for it. But Feyre didn't even get really angry because she's docile now. Like, she has finally become the thing Tamlin wanted her to become, and because she's with Rhysand and we're supposed to love Rhysand, then we're just supposed to accept that, and then it's good, because apparently she would want that now. And she went through this whole development of being like, I'm no longer docile, I no longer want to be just cuddled and be some homebody, but that's exactly who she is now. And okay. So if Feyre dies, Rhysand also dies, because they have this pact. So if Feyre dies, the only High Lord keeping Prythian from falling to its enemies dies as well, leaving no heir because the child is going to die in childbirth. That's totally worth leaving things as is, not taking risks to try and save the situation, and just standing around waiting for a miracle, which will of course come because Nesta is Lady Death and Deus Ex Machina and stuff. Look, there's a very simple solution to this. Feyre transforms, and you see if the baby survives, and if it doesn't, then that sucks. That's sad. But Feyre is alive, and so is Rhysand, and they can have another child, and she can just not have wings while they fuck. Solved. But even though this is a moronic dilemma, the way that this book really destroys Feyre and Rhys' relationship is because of Rhysand's reaction. Like when Nesta revealed to Feyre that she was gonna die, everyone were like, I can't believe you did that. That was a bad thing to do. You shouldn't have done that. And I was like, no, she should know. And Rhysand just becomes this overprotective fuck, and everyone's just like, oh, that's how males get when they have children. I also don't like this romanticizing of men becoming these extreme protector characters who just can't help being this masculine and protective and aggressive because they love their children, you know? It's just, fuck that. Feyre should have put him in his place here. I really, really missed that. It's like Rhys started out as this sexy, bad asshole, then he became a good guy with sort of a bad streak, and now he's just an annoying asshole. I mean, it is character development, but I really don't like that the other characters don't really mind this development. The thing I liked about Rhysand and the development between Rhysand and Feyre in book 2 was that Rhysand gave Feyre space to be her own person, to make her own choices. Everything was always her choice, even if he didn't like the choices that she made. The problem is she doesn't even want to be her own person anymore. You know, I fell in love with badass Feyre, not Feyre of the Spring Court. Why has she become exactly what Tamlin wanted her to become? I worry about you Americans, like I really do, because me as a Scandinavian, I'm just like, the only solution to this problem is either an abortion or she tries to transform. I'm so liberal. Let's put this in very simple terms. On one hand, the world. On the other, a baby that might survive. On one hand, Rhys and Feyre live to have another baby, even if the baby dies, and they're there to protect Prythian from impending doom. Or, on the other hand, baby that might survive with dead parents and grow up in a war-torn Prythian without a super cool dad who can teach him to control his world-shaking powers and potentially world-shaking penis. The choice is easy.